everybody, welcome to the channel. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. I know there's probably a bunch that have dropped around the same time on the new Skarner visual gameplay update. Welcome. We're going to get into things here. We're going to talk about Skarner. I was one of the few people in the EU LPP that was given a little bit of early access to what he does before he came out, and as such I'm going to break it down for you today. What he does, his abilities, some videos on his team fighting, and his splash art. I wasn't given a crazy amount of resources for this necessarily, but regardless, it's enough to show you exactly what he's cooking with. So, old Skarner identity: stun people, run around, grab people, drag them into your team. I think it's vaguely safe to say that this is a thematic that has been maintained within the Skarner VGU. In fact, probably a little bit more leaning into the side of pushing people around and bullying people and like shoving them into things and grabbing them and dragging them and stuff like that, and you'll see why a little bit later down the line. The main goals for their champion rework, according to Riot, were to deliver on promise a modern kit that fits around focusing on a fun and disruptive gameplay experience while retaining key core parts of Skarner's core identity. So I'm just gonna spoil it for you now. Skarner R, his Impale, the most iconic ability in League of Legends, well, if you're a Scorpion, is, for the most part, completely intact. So that's what you like about Skarner. Consider it done. Consider that being completely fine. He's mostly being played as a jungler as far as Riot. They're designing him as a jungler. They're designing him as a tank slash fighter with enemy target access and team fight disruption. They're hoping that he will tear through the terrain of Summoner's Rift to beat down his prey. Reaching his targets isn't enough. He has to spear through them, slam them into walls, and crash through those walls onto them. Here is the splash art for Skarner, by the way, the new splash art. I have not been given access to his other skins yet, but I'm sure they will be appearing possibly on the PBE. Maybe it's not all, like when it appears on the PBE in the next couple of days, maybe it'll be a little bit later down the line. They sometimes have like placeholder thumbnails for the splash arts. I've got no idea. But regardless, let's get into his actual abilities. So his passive is called Threads of Vibration. So when Skarner attacks or uses Shattered Earth / Upheaval, which is his Q, or Impale, he'll apply Quaking to enemies. Now, enemies with 3 stacks of Quaking take percentage max HP damage over time. It feels like it's been a little bit of time since we had a 3-hit max HP passive in a while, but we're back. Riot are back. They have brought it back, baby. It's nothing particularly crazy to look at. It's a 3-hit max HP damage thing, but I mean, it's something that a lot of tanks come equipped with now. They have like stuff to help them deal with their own kinds, so to speak. So his Q is called Shattered Earth / Upheaval. Skarner rips a rock out of the ground and uses it to empower his next 3 attacks with bonus damage, range, and attack speed. His third attack slams the rock into his target, slowing and dealing significant bonus damage, ending the effect. Skarner may recast Upheaval to throw the rock as a projectile that explodes on the first enemy hit, dealing the same damage and slowing, ending the effect. So the ability looks pretty cool, man. I don't know, picking up a giant rock, slamming it in. It's maybe not as intuitive necessarily as Skarner players, you know, as we're maybe used to. Your Q obviously just previously being a spam the Q button, get carpal tunnel on your finger, and do AoE damage. But still, it's keeping into the theme at the very least of it being an AoE wave clear ability if you need to use it. Every single auto attack on, I believe. Oh, actually no, I think it's no, it is. I'm looking at it right now. Sorry, it's every auto attack does do a little bit of AoE, but of course, like the third one does the most amount of AoE when he actually slams a rock into you. It's cool. It gives it like a little bit of an interesting thing as well, where instead of his E being his catch-up mechanic, like where if he fires his E at you and the little trail hits you, that being the only way that he can really catch up to you beyond just raw speed, he has got his Q now to whip a giant rock, which is definitely a bigger AoE distance or a bigger AoE radius to try and slow you so that he can actually stick to you in team fights or stick to you or just chase you down or whatever, or manage to get that impale on you or what have you. So his W is called Seismic Bastion. Skarner gains a shield and slams into the ground. releasing a shockwave that damages and slows nearby enemies. Nothing particular to talk about on this one, really. It seems like a little bit of an amalgamation of his Q and W, like kind of smooshed together. Maybe not necessarily better or worse than the other. Obviously, I think if you're a big fan of the old Skarner Q, you're probably going to just prefer old Skarner Q. But that's like in my brain what they've decided to do a little bit here. I think the cooldown is going to be a lot longer than old Skarner Q, but at the very least, it doesn't say any of the information, by the way, and I should just let this be known. Riot do not tell me how much they shield for, how much it slows for, what the AP ratios are, what the AD ratios are, any of that on any of this information. So as much as I wish I could tell you how much, you're probably just going to have to maybe eyeball it. It looks like a half decent slow, to be fair. You're going to have to eyeball it though a little bit on how much it's actually slowed. Maybe like, could be like 40%, maybe like 30-40%, it looks like, based on what I'm seeing. Regardless, onto the E. Ixtal's Impact is his E. Skarner charges forward, ignoring terrain, and grabs the first enemy champion or large monster he collides with. He may then carry them a short way, damaging and stunning them if they collide with terrain. Now, this is the ability that's going to be probably a lot of fun to play with. It seems like this is going to sound completely insane, right? It's like K and E, Scion ulti, and also Poppy E had a baby, and it was a forklift truck, right? It was a forklift, and you are the forklift, and you're playing as the forklift, and you're just pushing enemies into walls. It's gonna be fun, man. The ganks are gonna be absolutely crazy. You dive through the wall, grab the nearest champion, and just push them into. And if you manage to get them into a wall, I believe it stuns as well, right? Yeah, stunning them, damaging and stunning them if they collide with the target. I'm really curious to know how long you're able to do this for, because once again, it doesn't say any information, and the video clip that they've given us is not very long to determine how long you're actually able to hold this ability for. Still, it's interesting, man. It looks fun is the main part, right? I don't know how like competitively viable it's gonna be or how sick it'll be. But at the very least, I'd like to burrow out of the walls like the Dune Sandworm and grab the nearest support or AD carry player and slam them into a wall. If at all possible, thank you, Riot Games. Right, so his ultimate is called Impale. It's exactly the same as it was before to a certain degree. So, Impale will impale up to 3 enemy champions, damaging and suppressing them. Skarner gains bonus movement speed for a short time and carries them with him until the end of the effect. So, already, it's the same, but it's not the same. 3 enemy champions can be grabbed by it. It's almost like an AoE, so it's not necessarily, it doesn't look like it's necessarily a target anymore. I mean, it can't really be a target when there's 3 champions that can be grabbed by it, but it's like a cone that kind of comes inward and comes forward off of Skarner, and any champions that are hit by it are grabbed to him. It doesn't look like the duration is particularly long, and his movement looks a little bit strange during it, but at the same time, it's one of those things that the duration will go up with the cooldown, etc. But that, I mean, it's Impale, man. It's Impale. It looks pretty cool. I mean, like, having a look at some of his team fighting as well, it's definitely I mean, I don't know, it's disruptive. I don't know, I'll give you that. Coming through the walls looks like a lot of fun. I mean, looking at the duration, now that I'm actually seeing the skill cooldown durations, like, you're looking at probably about like 10 seconds-ish for your W nowadays. But that being said, right, the E cooldown is actually like super low, considering you can go through walls on it. And it seems to like be extended if you hit a champion as well. Like, it will refresh if you're about to run out and you hit a champion. It seems like that's something that you can do. You can also use your W during Impale, but you can't use any of your other abilities, unfortunately. But yeah, I mean, it's like a 10-second cooldown for his E, but he can go through walls. That being said, though, even though I'm kind of comparing it to Scion's ulti, you are not unstoppable during it. So if you get CC'd without grabbing anybody, then you're going to have it cancelled, unfortunately. But the cooldown isn't that long, so it's probably not that big a deal. And certainly you can make them see God somewhat. But yeah, this is Skarner. I'm hoping that like the real Skarner OGs out there enjoy it, and I like monster champs, and I don't know. Hopefully Nicky Boy likes it, man. I don't know what to say. It's Skarner's a champion that I enjoyed a lot, but I'm not exactly like a main of. Like I can't really say that I put in the hours on it, even though I've played like a decent amount of Skarner over the years. It's nowhere near the dedication of some of the people that have been waiting for this for a long time. And quite frankly, I mean, I don't know if expectations will ever be met, because like it's been so long since we have been waiting for the Skarner rework to happen. But we'll see, man. We'll see. I like the forklift truck driving simulator. The Impale's actually really cool. Like watching it in action is pretty cool. But that being said, I don't know. See how it plays in practice. It doesn't look like a particularly complex champ as well, which I do like. I don't necessarily like impossibly difficult. Not impossibly difficult, but just like champions that don't read well at face value, like Aphelios or something like that. Regardless, that's it. Thank you so much for watching this video. Hope you did enjoy it. If you did, please consider subscribing to the channel, dropping a like, and checking out shopsycho.com if you're looking for some codes. Thank you, Riot, for giving me this, and thank you for watching. So, there's Skarner. Take care. See you all next time.